Hi, welcome back. Today we're talking onions. One of my absolute favorite crops to grow. Why? Because they're super easy. 2, they're pest resistant. We've got these actually outside of our garden fence because no one bothers them. So I'm not taking up space in my raised beds inside the fence for these guys. These are outside in the wild. No one's bothered them. So a couple tricks about onions. Each leaf on an onion that you see here actually corresponds to a layer of the onion. But you actually want to encourage leaf growth with these rather than focus on the bulbs. So what that means is you want to provide them enough food for the leaves to grow. Pretend you're growing kale. So you're going to feed them some high nitrogen fertilizer. That could be any number of things. If you're looking at a bag of fertilizer, you want the first number to be highest. So today, we're going to use bat guano. You can use anything, but bat guano, typically, you want to look, again, this is a 10-3-1. This is what I have, and this is high in nitrogen, so this is what I'm going to use today. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the onions. So I'm going to trim them down, trim these leaves down to about 4 to 6 inches, because that will not only encourage the growth, but keep the growth in the bulb. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you want the bulb to grow. And you don't want them to get too top heavy and fall over, because that will discourage the growth. So trim them back to about 4 to 6 inches, feed them throughout the growing cycle with a high nitrogen fertilizer, and you're going to be good to go. Feed them up until the time approximately that you have bulbs popping out of the ground. Do not cover those bulbs with more dirt, because they actually like to grow above the ground. The roots are still down below to grow. We'll talk more about storing onions at a later date and how to harvest them and when to harvest them. But for now, we are growing some beautiful onions. And here I've got some shallots, some red onions, some Walla Wallas, and a few spring onions. I wanted mostly storage onions because we use onions all the time, and these are so much more delicious than what you find in the store. And you can plant different varieties than you might find in the store. Also, all of these I grew with the winter sowing method. So I put seeds, these are grown by seeds, put seeds in my winter jugs. You can also plant seeds directly, but with our season, it's a little too short. So you can either plant by seeds or by sets. I prefer seeds. 1, it is much cheaper, and you're getting the first year of onion. 2, it's really easy and you have much greater variety. So try it with seeds, try it with the winter sowing method. You can find winter sowing on my blog. We're going to get to fertilizing these guys and trimming them. And then once you fertilize, you want to water that fertilizer in. Okay, let's trim some of these onions. So get some nice sharp clippers that you've cleaned so you're not contaminating with something else that you've cut. And cut down to about 4 to 6 inches. Smells amazing. So you can use these like spring onions. Use them in a salad, use them in a stir fry, whatever, but use them. So we're going to collect these guys. Okay, I'm also going to fertilize these. So these are spaced about 4 to 6 inches apart. I'm just going to sprinkle some of this bat guano in between the rows and kind of scrape it in and then water it in. Being careful not to tip your onions over in the meantime. I'm going to take my bat guano, it is stinky, and then just a tiny bit, you don't need a lot. I'll go water these in a little bit once I'm done. If you do grow onions and you have some tips or tricks you'd love to share, please do so below. Thanks for watching and happy gardening.